delighted to have William Regal on for the first time. Honestly, it's a great pleasure to have you on the show. I've wanted to speak to you for so long. And I've got to tell you, my Twitter feed is a giveaway of this. I love the Blackpool Combat Club. I'm a huge fan of how that's transpiring lately. But I mean, you know what I do like as well is you look like you're really enjoying it too, being alongside Brian Moxley. I've spoken to both of them at length. They've spoken about you before, Brian in particular, about the influence you've had on their career. So let's just start there, shall we? Like the opportunity to come in. Is it basically as a result? Is Brian the one saying, come on?
Absolutely. I was all ready to have a year off. Once I got let go from WWE, I'd done nothing. The only time I'd ever had any time off in 39 years was when I was either really sick or injured. And when I was injured, I wasn't off. And when I was sick, most of the time I wasn't off because I was doing something involved with something. And I was ready to just have a year off and do nothing but talk with my son and guide him through it, things that he's doing. And then Brian called me. And if it hadn't been Brian called me, I wouldn't be probably here now. Because there's nobody else would have talked me into this. I don't say he didn't have to talk to me into it. It's just that he asked.
Yeah.
We have a very, a 22-year relationship, but it's somewhat like another son to me, So it's it was just no questions asked. I was just that was it. You what? Yeah. Oh, and you want me to talk to and then what? I'm coming. Because it was to, come and do something with me. Not telling me what, just something.
Yeah.
Of course I will. Yeah. There's no question. And then a few days later, I was having conversations with AEW, and then 2 weeks later, I was at the pay-per-view. It was that quick. I mean, it was all done, put together, and in less than 3 weeks, I was. And I didn't sign my deal. I walked in the building at 7:15 that night because I didn't want people seeing me get there. I walked in and I signed the deal before I walked to the ring. That was how that was put together.
Let me ask you this. Just a little window into my fandom. The Rock was like the first guy I fell in love with in the late 90s. I fell out of it a little bit when I went to university for a couple of years. And Bryan Danielson brought me back into it. He was Daniel Bryan at the time, but he was a wrestler that I watched and I was like, oh my God, how good is he? Obviously, calling you a wrestling historian would be less than spot on. You are obviously a man of great knowledge. Where does Bryan Danielson stack up in all-time professional wrestlers in the ring?
As high as anybody.
Well, I mean, yeah, but for you, if you had to, I mean, I know placing them is incredibly hard, but yeah.
Because he's had the last 22 years of the majority of things that have happened because of he's one of the reasons why. And most and so many people because of him doing what they're not, there was a group of young lads and they had nowhere else to go. They had to start their own thing, right? And he was one of them. And Joe and Chris Daniels and Brian Kendrick and people, they all had to start their own thing. And I was fortunate enough. People think it's the other way around. They say, "Oh, you did this." Right? No, they did something for me. We luckily, fortunately, came together. We were put in the same place at the same time in 2000, and there was another fellow who's very instrumental in a lot of this. Just being there, he doesn't get any credit anymore. But as far as the way that the job changed, would be Tom Carter, Reckless Youth, because he was there as well, and he was a fan of British wrestling. There was until 1999. That was when the tape trading thing started, and they started getting the first time that really any British wrestling was showing up in America. And these younger lads who wanted it and ladies who wanted to get into the job started seeing it. Well, then I ended up getting put with Brian, the two Brians and Tom Carter. We all came together at the same time, and they were helping me as much as I was helping them, because I'd had a documented off the rails in 97 and 98. But 99, I was fine again. But I've been in WCW, and I'd just been going about the thing and wasn't getting. Well, like 2000, I got an opportunity to go back to WWE, and I'm put with them. And we would train with the other people there. And then when they left, we would stay from 3 o'clock till past midnight every day. We were training, and then every show, they were just never left my side. We were just together. Brian was the one who was more interested in the British stuff. Well, then they were asked, you know, so it just became, that was the thing. And then a lot of at the same time, I met, it was about the March of 2000, I met Joe. I got sent by WWE to California, and I met John Cena, I met Joe, I met Chris Daniels, I met Frankie Kazarian, all at the same time. So I met all these people at the same time. And then from then onwards, especially there was Joe and Brian sort of kept in, and Brian Kendrick kept in touch with me. They all went off doing the different things, but Brian Danielson didn't send me stuff because he's too cheap, but a lot of the others did. They were all sending me stuff. They were all sending me their DVD, whatever they would do, you know. A match that the two Brians had formed Ring of Honor, and all of these young lads and ladies that would come as extras to WWE, and they'd find me by the ring. No different than now. When I get to the building, my phone stays in my bag, and I'm at the ring doing something, or trying to learn something, or trying to work on something. And if there was nobody there, then I'd go and sit with it, watching the camera, or people in the truck, or learning something, or looking at it from their angle. And so I was always doing something. So to be a part of this thing, if Brian hadn't have asked me, who knows what would have happened, but I'm glad he did. And it is a real thing. This is it's playing out on TV, but the three of us, and I obviously got to know John later on, and we had a 12-month period where we spent a lot of time together doing a story in FCW, but also we got on in a different way. We didn't talk that much, but me and him understand each other a bit. I think it's because we're a pair of rogues, right? We just we get each other differently than I am with Brian. And when they said about doing this, and it was like, oh, John's involved as well, right, great. And then John came up with a name. I didn't. He said this, and I was like, you want to call it that? He said, well, yeah, because it wasn't for you. They're like coming, and I've always kept, and it wasn't my own town. I moved to Blackpool, and I started wrestling there when I was 15, but I moved there at 16. That's obviously we can tap that part of that. I was like, okay, but it's a real thing that we are with Wheeler. We are a dead set on making him the best professional wrestler he can be, with all these influences and different styles and things that we've all picked up from wherever we've picked him up from. I'm just as open to learning everything as they are. We're all collectively, and now like he's in Japan now, and in daily contact with somebody, one of us, about something, and this is that's what's making this become what it is, you know. So if Brian hadn't have asked me, I wouldn't be here.
How pleased are you with Wheeler's development already in the BCC? Because already, to me, he's moved up levels.
And not only him, everybody that gets to wrestle them. That's another thing, because you watch every talent, a young talent that gets to wrestle, any of them are getting better, because that's how I got here, was getting to wrestle better people. So I'm blown away with him and Daniel Garcia as well, because they got themselves noticed in COVID, right? They got themselves got themselves. I was going to hire him last year in WWE. I had him and was ready to hire, but then change of philosophy there. But I was going to hire both of them then, right? I wanted to hire him. So I'm so happy that he's whatever he's done, he's doing an incredible job. And now we're all focused on trying to make him as give him everything that we've got, so he can get there a lot quicker than we got there, right? So, right, because Brian, had to go through a lot. We started off this conversation about Brian. Brian started a show, how could you have a better thing? But it's because he scrimped and scraped, saved his money, went to Sean's school, ended up with me, did whatever he had to do in his world in America. I sent him to Britain, did 4 years going doing butlins and whatever else he had to do in Britain. I got him, originally I got him some connection of mine. I don't know if he knows that, but with New Japan when they had their first LA dojo, and it just went from there. And all these other people that were all different things and coming. So he's had to fix. So we can condense a lot of that. I can firstly, like, don't do this, because I made a right mess of my life doing that. That's one. But then the wrestling stuff, we can, however Wheeler's figured it out, well, yeah, you've done an incredible job already. Right now, we can save you, between a lot of us, probably save you 20 years worth of things not to do, and just, this is what to do, and make it your own and whatever. Does that make sense? And it's just,
yeah, of course.
And so that's why he's getting so already, boom. We every day we're at when I get to the building, I'm in the ring Eastern time, 11 o'clock. Me and Brian are there, and Wheeler's with us, and we train all day. And any other young talent about they're watching, come and get in with us. That's not my job anymore, but that's what I do. My phone's in my bag. It doesn't get out. My wife knows I check my phone twice a day. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm there to learn, right? And so is Brian. Brian doesn't carry his phone with him because he's there to learn. Wheeler doesn't carry his phone with him. We're there to get better. And that's what this is all about. It's trying to get a new group of young wrestlers, which there are plenty of them, and there always has been. But okay, if you wanted it, but there's a lot of hard work goes into this, and you've got to really dedicate yourself to it. That's why he's getting good.
And I know you need like opponents, and like you said, it works both ways in that kind of lifting all talent. But would you, or do you want to expand the BCC? Okay. Like how big can it get?
So at first, everybody's throwing names about, and even we were thinking of it. But at the moment, from personal experience, I was a wrestler when I came to America. That was my style. I was a wrestler, wrestling wrestler, right? Because there's many styles of wrestlers.
There is.
Right? But it was, let's focus everything we can at the moment. What we decided on a few weeks ago. There's loads of people we're looking at, always looking. But if you take all the wrestlers off the table and put them all in one group, who are they supposed to wrestle? As far as people who wrestle the same style. So even if they not part of this, but they get to wrestle, anybody in the group, which is, you can see it every week on TV. Dante last week, it's a young lad with a lot of talent, but he's got a great interest in British wrestling. He watches all like Johnny Saint and Steve Gray and stuff. He studies that. But who's he going to get to do it with? Unless he wrestles somebody who does something, even if it's a little bit and not quite as obvious that it's that, he's wrestling people that are getting stuff passed down to them. So they're all it. So one day we might go, right, now it's time for this. But I'm conscious, and it's a real decision that we had a while back, was no, never mind getting anybody else at the moment, because if then you spread it. Another thing, if there's three of us, we're all learning off each other, and we want Wheeler. We all three don't think we know anything. We're all trying to get better. And that's me not being a competitor. I'm still trying to learn off everybody new and everything new. And then we got Wheeler. Well, let's concentrate on him first. Because if you start, then it takes every second that you spend with somebody else takes a second off Wheeler. Right?
Yeah.
So let's concentrate on him. Anybody who wrestles them, it's going to get passed down to them, whether they know it or not, through getting a good kick in or whatever. They're going to learn. They're going to go back if they're smart and watch the tape, watch whatever it is, and see what was Wheeler doing, what was Brian doing, and the knock-on effect of that will affect a lot of people. Instead of just throwing everybody in and going, oh, which is what a lot of people, I've had a lot of people going to me, I'd love to be a part of that. And I know all of us have. Yeah. And don't think we wouldn't like you to be in it. But you would be better off if you actually weren't in this and you get to wrestle us, because then you feel it firsthand, right? I was at a certain stage in my life and I was wrestling. I got to be Big Daddy's tag partner at 18. And I quit because I'd learned all this wrestling stuff, but I wasn't getting to do it in that role. That takes a different mindset to quit a big spot at that age. But I wanted to, so I went to another company so I could wrestle better wrestlers. And then my career got to where it got to. If I'd have stayed in that role, I wouldn't have got anywhere. You need to be a good wrestler. You either need to be trained by really good wrestlers or you need to wrestle really good wrestlers. So we'd be doing actually a disservice to the actual people the younger talent that want to wrestle at the moment if we take them off the table and put them in our group. They can,
and to your point,
and a lot of them actually do come and they're all watching us train. And sometimes we say, come on, and train with us. They're training with us. But actually, you need opponents, and that's a real thing to it. You need to wrestle better opponents. Otherwise, you're wrestling. If you're wrestling a striker and kicker all day long, you can't do all that intricate wrestling stuff. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
you've got to fight.
I know it's meant to be like a fight on Sunday at Double or Nothing Jericho Appreciation
That is going to be a
Society.
fight. That is going to be an absolute fight.
But to your point, Daniel Garcia, a man that everyone wanted in the Blackpool Combat Club, he's against you this Sunday. So that's a good example, right, of having that come together.
Right. And he's going to learn from that because he's going to have to survive that. But it's also, don't think I'm not keeping an eye on him. And he's one of many. But he's somebody, again, who made a name for himself and he's a wrestler, so I'm keeping that. But he's better off actually facing us at the moment than being a part of us, because he's going to have to fight to survive on Sunday. And again, that's another skill you've got to learn, he's going to have to survive and survive against Brian, kicking the life out of him, or John, smashing life out of it, Eddie and Santana and Ortiz doing whatever they're going to do to him. It's going to make him better, and so eventually he'll get better himself.